Shalom America.
Joining us this morning is a man who's been in town. Usually I have to guess, but I can tell you he's been here for 5 years because we're here to talk about the 5th anniversary of his organization here in Cleveland, Partners in Torah of Cleveland, marking 5 years. And Rabbi Pinchas Landis, it's a pleasure to have you joining us this morning.
Shawn, it is a pleasure as always. I think this is the first time I've ever been on your show where we were both indoors and in the same room.
I think you're right.
Because usually we're either outdoors at like the rib burn off or something like that, or I'm on the phone. So it's great to be in the same room recording with you.
No, we're recording.
I can let that out.
Absolutely. We don't expect everybody to be awake early on a Sunday morning. To listen, yes. To be ready to do an interview, that's a different story.
Exactly.
So 5 years of Partners in Torah here in Cleveland. And we'll talk a little bit about the big gala that's coming up. We'll talk a lot about the big gala, but I'm just curious, how many people have walked through the doors of Partners in Torah over the last 5 years?
That is a great question, and I can break the numbers down a lot of different ways, and depending on who the donors, on who the person is who's asking, I can play with them as needed. There's a famous line they used to say that one of the big philanthropic families in the Jewish world is named the Wolfson family out of New York. They give millions of dollars to Jewish organizations, educational organizations, and they're very stringent with their reporting. So that's the backdrop for this idea I'm going to tell you, and that is that there's a famous statement of our sages that there are 600,000 letters in the Torah. But if you would sit down and count, not that I'm recommending it, but if you would sit down and count, you'd find only about 300,000 and change. So the question is, why does the statement of our sages say there's 600,000? Very simple. It's Wolfson numbers. But anyways, that being said, our touch, and this is me trying to be as honest as possible, I would say you said walk through the doors. So walk through the doors, we're well over 1,000. We've had well over 1,000 Clevelanders involved in our program over the first 5 years. Right now our reach is at about 1,000. So I'm sure we've had fall off here and there, people who move away, there's some attrition, whatever it is. So we're well over 1,000 with our Cleveland reach. And in this past year, we've actually started a digital learning platform to which we get in the neighborhood of 600 interactions a day. That means either 600 eyeballs or ear lobes or eardrums on our content every day. So that's another X number of people long term, because I'm sure not every person is every day, but whatever it is, several thousand people out there in the world involved with our digital learning content.
Which is an incredible number of people when you think about it. And these are people who come from all walks of life. You have people who are Orthodox who want to gain a little bit more knowledge, or maybe some specialized knowledge in an area and meet with a chavrusa, with a learning partner. You have people who have not received any Jewish education. A good friend of mine that I introduced you to,
exactly,
who is admittedly, he says he's trying to make up for, he figures 15 years, and I told him it's a lot more than that, but he figures there's 15 years of basic Jewish education that he never got, and now he's involved with Partners in Torah.
Exactly.
So, and everybody in between, which is a unique mix, I think, for a group like yours.
And not only everyone in between, but everywhere. Now that we're doing digital learning, everywhere in between. We have a big fan of one of our digital programs is Today in Jewish History, and we have a big fan of Today in Jewish History who lives in Japan. So literally, we have students now all over the world, across the world. She is they're a military family, Jewish military family stationed somewhere in Japan, and somehow they found their way to our Today in Jewish History, and they're regulars, they're fans, listening, or I don't know if they're listening or reading. We have different ways of getting it every single day. So we literally have everyone in between, Jewishly on the Jewish spectrum, from the reds to the violets, so to speak, and we have even geographically, we now have all over the world with people involved in our programming from right here in little old Cleveland.
Your most visible program is your Tuesday night weekly program at the Jewish Community Federation, which is open to anybody who walks in the door. They don't need to call you in advance first and say that they're coming, right?
Nope,
they can just show up and you will find them.
We'll find them something to do, something productive to do that will hopefully be of quality Jewish education, Jewish learning.
So when somebody comes to Partners in Torah's regular Tuesday learning, which starts at 7 o'clock every Tuesday.
So our shmorgs, I'm sure we'll get to the shmorg. The shmorg starts at 7. The regular weekly program starts at 7:30. So please check first to know if it's a shmorg or regular week. We'll get to that in a minute, what I'm talking about.
Right. And what goes on a regular week? Just to give somebody an idea so the uninitiated know what they'd be walking into.
Sure. So the regular program is 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Cleveland Jewish Federation on Science Park Drive. And people come in, start, depending on if they're running on Jewish Standard Time or regular time, they'll show up anywhere from a little before 7:30, a little after 7:30. And for the regulars, they know right where they're going, right where they're doing. They sit down, they dig into whatever they're focused on. But it's small group learning. It's anywhere from a one-on-one learning situation to sometimes a two-on-one, sometimes a three-on-one. But we have the idea is we offer tailor-made Torah studies. So if somebody wants to learn about the Jewish approach to wallpaper, my job is to find them someone who actually knows something about Judaism and wallpaper for them to sit down and study with. And that's really, I think, what's different about us than many organizations in town are doing Jewish education. I don't think anyone is reached if we're judging success in numbers, I don't think anyone has gotten to where we've gotten. And a big part of that, I think, is that first of all, we are just an education organization. We're not a congregation. We're not a community per se, as the term's used a lot of time. A community organization. We're a one-track, one-trick pony, so to speak. We're all about Torah study, and I think that's refreshing for people that they know with coming and getting involved with us, they're not going to be asked to join a congregation, which is a great thing. I'm pro-congregation, pro-congregational life, and pro-Jewish prayer and Jewish other social activities. Wonderful, wonderful things, but we focus on one thing, and if
somebody's had a burning desire to fill in a portion of their Jewish education or their Jewish life, or they say, I feel like I need to know a little bit more about kashrus, about keeping kosher. Or I want to know a little bit more about Shabbos, or I want to learn, how to read Hebrew. You find them the right teacher for that and the right mix.
So that's my job, and that's the other really interesting and dynamic thing about us is we are, as of now, we're really a one staff person organization with about 80 volunteers. So we have volunteer educators, meaning our educators are regular, old, young, middle-aged, all different aged doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs, or housewives and house husbands, I guess, and everything in between. So that's also when we talk about sort of the intimidation factor, whatever it might be, that you're going to be sitting down with someone who, while their educational background might be different than yours, their socioeconomic situation is probably going to be similar to yours, and that's one thing we look for also, that you can connect on that. And so you have that, hence the name Partners in Torah. It's not you're really dealing with someone, you're interacting with someone who's going to become your partner, your friend, and that's what we've also seen develop in a beautiful way, just between the different partnerships that we've had the privilege of setting up over the past 5 years.
So you mentioned the Shmorgan passing, and we're going to move into the food portion of
Food's important. Hey, Jews and food, let's face it.
Because you've got two big food events. One of them happens every month,
right?
And that's the Partners in Torah Shmorg. This started about, 4 months ago?
It started January 8th, I think was our first one. It was the second Tuesday in January we kicked it off. Yeah, this was really my wife's idea. We were kind of everyone's always looking how to be better, looking for the edge, looking how to do things different. And we had gone through this year, already about, at that point, I'd say 8 months into making a very strong focus on digital learning, being in the digital realm, social media marketing, and all that. And when we started that plan, it was presented to our donors and to our board as really the success can be judged in 3 ways. One will be that it'll be marketing. This will be a way to get our message out, find more people, connect with more people. The second would be it could find some more donor streams we could get sponsorships, we could get that for our different programs. And the third is, if all else fails, it's just opening another front of Torah learning. So I think, as we mentioned before, number 3 we've achieved. We have a lot of good Torah content, Jewish content being consumed every single day. Number 2, a little bit. We've seen some sponsorships come in because of it, people asking to sponsor it. But the number 1, as of December, we weren't really seeing it yet. And it's important. It takes time, whatever. But as my wife and I were speaking, we realized part of the problem was, as much as Partners in Torah is, sold as a drop-in, even though there are definitely regulars, but people can walk in anytime they want. The attraction, so to speak, wasn't there. They could get people from, let's say, seeing us on Facebook or seeing us on Instagram or hearing our podcast or whatever it is, and coming down to the Jewish Federation. So we said we have to make something a magnet to pull in from these different places where we're interacting with people and get people in the door. hence the concept of the shmor. Because let's say, we all know the bottom line with Jews: if you feed them, they will come. But beyond that, what we did was just having the first, as you said, the Shmorg program, and the next one is May 14th. It's going to be this coming Tuesday. The first 45 minutes, from roughly 7 to 7:45, is completely social eating. It's buffet style, hence Shmorg, smorgasbord, and people just come and enjoy, socialize, which is another element of the program we didn't have. As much as it's, I said our sole focus is Torah education, we had this interesting phenomenon is we could have two people who've been in the same room together for 5 years and they never even met each other because they're not the ones learning together.
Right.
So put in at least that element of social element to be able to meet some of the people that you're learning, not necessarily with, but at least in the same space as, and the food is good. And the third piece is that we have the regular one-on-one learning going on for those who want to do that, especially our regulars who want to stick to that. But we always offer 3 very interesting lectures that are by design one-offs, and should be attractive in and of their title and their nature, and we only ask people who we know have something good to say and do it in an entertaining and engaging way. So that all comes together to be a program that's put us into a situation where the conference center of the Jewish Federation is packed 2 times a year. One is Super Sunday, and the second is the monthly Partners in Torah Shmor program.
And the biggest complaint, and this should be the problem you always have to deal with, the biggest complaint that I've heard is that people are very conflicted which of the 3 programs they want to go to.
We've heard that a lot.
Because all 3 of them are usually so interesting and so different that people can't decide how they want to divide their time. So that should halavai, you should never have a bigger problem.
I'm with you. That's I've heard the complaint. There's 2 different ways we're trying to work on that. One is I'm trying to make sure that all of the presenters record themselves, or we have it set up so that we're recording them. The other is that we've toyed with the idea of making it more like a TED Talk program, whereas as opposed to 3 roughly 45-minute presentations going on simultaneously, it'll be 3 18-minute presentations going on one after the other.
And you can rotate between, or they would just
for
everybody? Oh, okay.
In other words, at the Federation, we open the fly walls, whatever those things are called, and that's how it's set up. Just one big, whatever's 150, 200 people in one room. Presenters, and then one presenter, the second presenter, the third presenter.
That'd be excellent.
But anyways, that's a thought moving forward that we're looking at and entertaining. But bottom line is that's really become the secret sauce, because the average shmorg, which like we said is getting well over 150 people, it's usually breaks down to about a third is our warm group, and there's people who are coming, anyways several times a year. Our active crowd, we would say. The next third is sort of our inactive crowd, the people who are connected to, but we were seeing maybe once a year, if that. Now we're seeing them once a month. And the third are the people who see us on social media, or whose friends, they see it on their friends' page, or their friends bring them in, because we also have a situation where, let's say, Brian, your friend, perfect example. You wanted to bring him in, and you didn't. Was this going to work? Is it not going to work? Oh, but a shmorg is a perfect time to bring him in. So we always have a third just pure newcomers, and it's really been tremendous, a tremendous program that a lot of excitement. Like I said, the next one is this coming Tuesday, May 14th, at the Jewish Federation. The cuisine will be, we're going all American. We're going to have like sliders, poppers, wings, that type of stuff.
I'm looking forward to it.
This one's going to be catered by Pacey Elbaum and Freshco Foods.
Okay.
And the lectures, we call it Nourish Your Body, Nourish Your Soul. So Nourish Your Soul part of it will be this guy named Landis is speaking on a topic, The Nick is the Way, the Jewish Roots of Stoicism, which if you know what Stoicism is, you can probably figure out what that's about. If you don't, then it's going to be a fun lecture. Come check it out.
Okay.
Just if you want to know the play on words there, Nick is coming from like when you get nicked on the shoulder, nicked
right.
on, that when you get hit by something, it's, that people tend to, you get hurt or something happens or a challenge and you try to avoid it. But this approach would be about doing the opposite, about growing from it. And it's a play on really with the Hebrew and English, like nikshol, like a stumbling block.
Right.
And it's really a play on the book by Ryan Holiday, a nice Jewish boy. The obstacle is the way. And so it's going to be partially talk about how obstacles in life, we have to approach them as they are our way. They're our way to success. and talk about how that's, how historically that is really a Jewish idea, and it came to the world really through the Jewish people. So that's going to be one talk. Mrs. Dina Israeli, who happens to be our honoree for our upcoming event, which we'll get to in a moment, is giving a talk, Why Bad Things Happen to Good People, My Struggles with a Brain Tumor. It's going to be a fascinating talk about her when she had a brain tumor a few years ago and how what that meant for her and her family, and talk about that classical Jewish question that's a difficult Jewish question about why bad things happen to good people. And then the third talk is going to be Rabbi Rafael Davidovich, who will be speaking on the topic of To Infinity and Beyond, the science fiction of Torah and Tolkien. So for you science fiction folks out there, or you Tolkien fans out there, if you like Frodo and you want to know if Frodo's Jewish, this is the time to come out and listen to Rabbi Davidovich.
Or Gollum and Golem, the same thing.
Whichever one, exactly. This is your time to come out and learn about that. So please join us for that on May 14th. And
so the big event, we've only got a few minutes left because you're doing so many things.
Because I run my mouth like crazy.
That's all right.
They say that an optimist is somebody who, when a rabbi says in conclusion, puts their shoes back on.
I've heard that rabbi speak. So on May 22nd, which is Lag BaOmer, Partners in Torah is having their 5th anniversary gala celebration. And I don't know, somehow Beef Wellington took the headline spot in the email I received this morning over your keynote speaker, Rabbi Yisachar Frand. Now, I don't know how Rav Frand feels about that. As you mentioned, you're going to be honoring Mrs. Dina Israeli as Partner of the Year. Rabbi Yisachar Frand, who you list as a renowned author and lecturer. I think most people in the Orthodox world have heard the name and are familiar with his work and are probably looking forward to him coming in. He's going to be the keynote speaker.
Yeah, but it's not only a talk that's geared to the Orthodox world. He's
right.
He's a very, very broad speaker. And in fact, the way we came to him is our outgoing board chair, David Heller, is a big fan of his, and that's one of the ways we got to Rabbi Frand.
He has many followers. I just meant as far as a frame of reference.
You're right. He's definitely a name known in more traditional circles, but definitely it can touch and inspire Jews far and wide, and his quality of delivery.
And not to bury the lead, but our good friends at the Ritz-Carlton Kosher Catering are going to be catering this at the Silver Grill downtown on Public Square, and you got a knockout menu for this event.
Yeah,
this is going to set the standard that every dinner will be judged by for the rest of our existence.
And that was really our goal, especially with going with the Ritz-Carlton. I mean, in the past we've had speakers that. Real headline speakers. Like we had Senator Joe Lieberman a few years ago. We had syndicated radio host Shawn Fink. Syndicated radio host Michael Medved last year. You had a Disney producer, a Disney animator one year. So that's the route we've gone, really putting our energies into the speaker. And not to say that Rabbi Frand is not on their level, but probably not as famous as those. Quality-wise, I think he's probably above all of them. But at least we decided to put a lot of energies behind just the event venue and the food. So the Ritz-Carlton put in a kosher kitchen 9 or 10 months ago, and has yet to do a big community event. Part of the reason is their space is a little interesting. The Ritz's ballroom is not big enough; it only seats 250. But they did purchase the Dan Gilbert, who owns the whole Tower City, owns the Higbee Building, and the top floor of the Higbee Building has the iconic Cleveland location of the Silver Grill, and that's a bigger ball space. So it's part of the Ritz, it's part of the Tower City conglomerate. Just so you know, if you're coming, the valet parking is included, and it is not the Ritz entrance, it's right across. So you'll see a big thing for event parking, look for that. And so that's why we're at the Silver Grill. They seat up to 400, so we will max out at 400. And a conscious decision of ours was about 2 weeks before the event, drop the menu, for people who might just be interested in, let's face it, for $72, an all-inclusive restaurant night at the Ritz-Carlton with the menu includes, like you said, beef Wellington, carved barbecue brisket. There's an Asian beef chicken tofu option, Asian station. There's a lot of good there's a fish station with red snapper and all types of things like that. There's going to be red and white wines we're going to have. And that's just the dinner. The dinner is going to be, our setup is we're going to have, the dinner's going to be schmorg style, it's going to be buffet style with all these different stations to choose from and things passing around. And then the program will be the next part. Program will be about an hour and 15 minutes, and then we will send everybody on their ways. But down in the lobby on your way out will be a nice Viennese table, a nice dessert buffet set up.
Yeah.
So we really pulled out all stops with the food, and with the idea being that we want it to be, like you said, really a 5-star, great, delicious event. And look, that's the attraction this year. We're not charging a premium price for that, because the idea being that as much as this is a fundraiser, this is a friend raiser. This is a way for us to meet you, the listeners out there, and to check us out and see what we're all about. So, like I said, you're not going to find a 5-star dinner, including valet parking, for $72 anywhere. And so just, if you've never heard of Partners in Torah and you're not even curious about who we're about, feel free to at least come and check it out for the food they're offering, and then we can, you'll get exposed to us a little bit.
Well, if you've been a listener of ours, we've been talking about the Ritz-Carlton. They're sponsors of ours. We talked about their Pesach meals, and we talked about their Rosh Hashanah meals. We'll be talking about them more, God willing, in the future. Now, Liz and I are looking forward to getting a chance to taste the food and hear Rabbi Frank as well. If you want to celebrate the 5th anniversary of Partners in Torah of Cleveland, it's hard to get those prepositions in the right
We sort of
place.
drop the of sometimes, Partners in Torah Cleveland, but anyways,
it's TorahCleveland.com online, TorahCleveland.com.
Yeah, everything is there, by the way. You want anything that we've talked about, TorahCleveland.com is the address online for all that stuff.
$72 a person gets you the full dinner, the valet parking,
dessert,
the
program.
There are sponsorship opportunities available if you'd like to do a little bit more. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fantastic way to celebrate the wonderful work that you, Rabbi Landis, have done with Partners in Torah, and a fantastic opportunity to have some really, really excellent food.
Unique
and
food in Cleveland, that's for sure.
Some very inspirational speakers, I think, as well. It's the Partners in Torah 5th Anniversary Gala, May 22nd at the Silver Grill. If people have questions and they want to give you a call,
216-307-PITC, as in Partners in Torah Cleveland.
Again,
216-307-PITC or 7482.
Thank you very much. Our guest this morning, Rabbi Pinchas Landis, the Executive Director of Partners in Torah of Cleveland, and we look forward to having you again with us very soon in the future, and looking forward to the gala.
Shawn, it's always a pleasure, and I'm glad you guys are going to be there.
Shalom America.